Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The LA Dodgers are suddenly in free fall. Is it time to panic? Also, the Yankees pitcher Cam Schlittler had an impressive MLB debut. And Jayden Daniels will win the 2025 NFL MVP award.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Milwaukee Brewers walked off the LA Dodgers yesterday to complete a sweep that sent the Dodgers into a 6-game tailspin, the first 6-game losing streak in LA since 2019. Travis Rogers from Locked On Dodgers joins me now. And Travis, I don't know where I want to start with this, but like the 6-game losing streak, we have to talk about that. But the fact that there hasn't been one in that long is also remarkable. Which of those two sides of this coin stand out more to you?
The second one, for sure, that they haven't lost 6 games in a row in 6 years is bonkers. Really good teams lose 6 games in a row all the time in Major League Baseball. Yeah. That's not that uncommon at all. They've been really good for the better part of 13 years. They've won the division 13 years in a row. Or I should say 12 of the last 13 years. The one year they didn't win it, they won 106 games. They came in second place. They've been incredibly good, and not just that, Peter, but they've been incredibly consistent. They really just, one of the things that I think is kind of one of their talents that not a lot of people are aware of. I was talking with the guys from Locked On White Sox when the Dodgers played the White Sox last week. The Dodgers take care of business against bad teams. They just absolutely clobber bad teams. And in baseball, that doesn't always necessarily happen. So the fact that they haven't had a streak like this in 6 years is stunning. And look, they're in a bad way right now. And today was a bad loss. They're not scoring any runs at all. So it's kind of normal for a baseball team, but when you have a payroll like the Dodgers do, when you have the star power like the Dodgers do, to see them kind of hit the skids like this is, and for the first time in a long time, it's noticeable, to be sure.
Yeah, and we're not going to sit here and say the sky is falling about a team with the second most wins in Major League Baseball. That would be silly to do. But to your point, the expectations for this team are once again very high. And so when you do have a couple games where they don't look like world beaters, you go, and there have also been some times, as you know, where in the postseason, they've not met expectations, even when they, let's say, just hypothetically, Travis, have a historically good regular season with a historically high payroll. Yeah. I think Dodgers fans might feel a little nervous. And I think that's natural. That's normal.
Yeah, it is. I think last year exercised a lot of the demons of that. I don't care how many games we win during the regular season. I'm still going to be terrified when the playoffs start. And by the way, they got within one game of having it happen again. The Padres happened within one game of closing them out in the second round. They kind of wiggled off the hook. But it is. What's weird about the Dodgers this year, Pete, is that up until about a week ago, they really had not played their best baseball up until they hit the Rockies, the White Sox. They had a string against some bad teams, and they really started to knock them out. And they created a 9-game lead in their division, but they really haven't had that run that they have every single year, it seems like, in this run that they've had over the last decade plus, where you turn around and they win 20 games in a month. They win 22 games in a month. And you turn around and all of a sudden what was a 5-game lead is a 12-game lead. They haven't done that all season long. They haven't been particularly good by their standard. They've been good by major league standards, but none of the pieces have fired at the same time. They've had great offense for most of the year. The offense went ice cold for the last week or so. Their pitching has been a tire fire with guys down on the IL all season long. They're finally starting to get that back. You saw Glasnow today. He looked pretty good. Ohtani's doing really well. Clayton Kershaw, I think, has given them more than anybody would have reasonably expected. And Yamamoto's an all-star pitcher. So that's starting to come back together. I'm really not worried. It's more weird than it is alarming that they've played the way that they have. I do think I've seen some things from some habits as far as base running and just bad at-bats from guys that you wouldn't expect a lot of bad at-bats from. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. These are, the veterans, Hall of Fame players. They just haven't looked like themselves for the last 10 days or so.
Yeah, you lose a game 18-1, you want to just forget about it. But then a couple of days later, you lose a game 9-1. And you go, okay, well, this is, not really how you want to do this. I want to close here, Travis. Clayton Kershaw getting the, I guess the Lifetime Achievement Award All-Star selection. What did you make of this?
I go back and forth, Peter. I'm glad that they're recognizing him. He is a great Dodger. He's had a great career. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And if we just want to make the All-Star game hey, look at that guy. That guy, we all know his name. Then great, we can do that. If we're trying to make the best team among the players that are eligible, he shouldn't be there. So I guess it depends on how you're looking at it. Thank goodness he's been at least pretty good for most of the year. I know he hasn't been all-star caliber good. He said as much. So I'm not, putting anything out there that he wouldn't agree with, but he's been okay. So I don't think it's crazy. This isn't entirely an honorarium, but it's interesting to see. When I saw it, and same thing that Kershaw said, I'm like, oh yeah, they got that weird thing for older guys that we want to see. Where I've forgotten about that, but I do think if we're going to have that spot, he's the right guy to give it to.
You can stay up to date all year on the LA Dodgers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Dodgers on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, Cam Schlittler was dealing in his major league debut. Before we get to that, Juan Sodto, he loves his money more than anyone, maybe. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. Juan Sodto may have recently signed the richest contract in North American professional sports, but the new $675 million man can never have enough. The Mets superstar was asked about not making the All-Star team. His response, I think it's a lot of money on the table if I make it. Despite Sodto being paid more than basically every human on earth, still motivated by a small bonus. I have no choice but to respect it. Staying in Major League Baseball, the Phillies rebounded with a 13-0 beatdown against the Giants.
Well, if there was ever a game where you needed a 13-0 victory after, it was certainly Tuesday night's debacle with the walk-off 3-run home run in the bottom of the ninth inning in San Francisco. So, yeah, a 13-0 victory, exactly what the Phillies doctor ordered. And a couple of things were great about this game, but two in particular. Number one, Jesus Luzardo, 7 innings, strong, scoreless innings of baseball where everything was working for him in this start, where he picks up his 8th win of the season. After that, of course, the offense broke out. 13 runs kind of says that. But the star of the show offensively was Bryce Harper. How great to see him come back and get 3 doubles in a game, as well as a home run. First time in his career he's had a 4 extra base hit day. How about that for Bryce Harper? Phillies now will begin their final series before the All-Star break. That'll be in San Diego against the Padres beginning Friday night with Ranger Suarez on the hill.
The Nationals snapped their 4-game skid with an 8-2 win over the Cardinals, and the Royals beat the Pirates for their 4th straight.
Behind a multi-homer game from Salvador Perez, the Royals finish off the sweep of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm the host of Locked On Royals, Jack Johnson, giving you a few takeaways from tonight's game, beginning with how impressive Salvador Perez continues to be as the summer rolls on. Over his last 40 games, he's been OPSing north of 820, which is just perfect for him since his move to the 5-hole. And if he can continue that pace, maybe this offense can get back to where they were last year. Jack Caglione also homered for the 2nd straight day. This one traveled 466 feet, went over 3 walls in center field. Maybe these last 2 games could get him rolling as we get closer and closer to the All-Star break. And now only 3 games left to go before the first half comes to a close. It'll be the New York Mets coming into town. They'll have a doubleheader tomorrow against Baltimore, and then they're going to be throwing Kodai Senga on Friday. The Royals will be countering with Michael Wacha.
The Yankees seem to be out of their recent funk. New York won its third straight with a 9-6 win over Seattle. Locked On Yankees host Stacey Gotsulias and Brian McKean break down Cam Schlittler's impressive debut.
We have to talk about Cam Schlittler because what a debut for him.
Yeah, so the game ended, and basically the first thing that Aaron Boone said at the press conference was that Cam Schlittler will not go straight to AAA. You've seen this a lot over the years. When a guy gets called up and signs a major league deal, he goes straight back down after he appears. Mainly that's for clerical reasons because they need to get a roster spot open for whatever reason.
Like Will Warren last year.
Pretty much, yeah. It was on the taxi squad. Yeah. Aaron Boone has said already that Cam Schlittler will stay with the team and he will make another start. More than likely, that's because they plan on keeping him in the rotation and they want him to have. Remember, he got to the Bronx yesterday, so I think, or 2 days ago. What they want is him to understand the rhythm of what it's like, what the preparation through the week is like, what the film watching is, what everything is. He'll know when his next start is. He'll know what he's going to be doing, what he's going through. So they want him to be a part of this ball club, which is a positive sign for his future and for the rest of this season, meaning he's probably going to be on this team for the foreseeable future in this season. But yeah, an interesting pitcher, and he's got some good stuff, right, Stacey?
Yes. Interestingly enough, in the first inning alone, Schlittler threw the six fastest pitches by a Yankee pitcher this season.
It's remarkable. He's got such great velocity, and he's still young. Like, if he learns a little more and honestly hits the weight room a little more, he could wind up having a lethal fastball. People compare his stuff to a Tyler Glasnow type. So if you have that kind of fastball with that level of pop on it, you can go a long way in this game.
Yeah, his first major league strikeout was Cal Raleigh. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby, no.
He also hit 100 on the nose. Here, let's put up some numbers for you guys because, as I said, in the first inning, he threw the 6 fastest pitchers by a Yankee this season, but he's also thrown 9 out of the 10 fastest pitches by a Yankee this season. The only person on the list that's not Cam Schlittler is Yerry De Los Santos. So that's pretty impressive.
Keep in mind, this is without Luis Heel and Garrett Cole in the rotation all year. Right. Those guys both throw very hard. So that is without those two guys. But, I mean, it's unbelievably impressive, especially to have that level of confidence in your first major league start and have the ability to come through, pitch really well, and kind of let loose out there and just throw, right? Yeah. He didn't seem like he was nervous at any point. It didn't seem like he was freaking out there. Even from the first inning, he was very in control of what was going on out there.
Yeah, so he ended up with 7 strikeouts, pretty good. 2 walks. First one was nonsense because the ump screwed him a little bit in that first walk. In my humble opinion, he gave up 2 home runs, but no harm, no foul. The Yankees were scoring on the Mariners, and it was that kind of a game where he could give up 2 home runs, and it was okay because the Yankees were doing pretty well on offense, and he ends up with his first major league win. That's pretty cool.
I'm shocked that they're doing Seattle here. I honestly am. I didn't think they were going to – I thought they had potential to get swept in this series just because the pitching matchup, they didn't have the advantage. And so far in the first 2 games, their bats have significantly woken up. And the key news that happened earlier today, Stacey, is the Blue Jays lost their game to the White Sox, which they did. That was their first loss in – I think they had 10 in a row. It might have been 11 at that point.
They had 10 in a row. They were going for 11.
Yeah, and they lost the game to the White Sox, so it was an early afternoon game. They lost 2-1. That's a problem because the Yankees were able to gain a game on the Blue Jays within the divisions. Now it's a 2-game lead. Every game's going to count. So it's one of those things where going into this game 3 of the series, you can't let up against Seattle here. You got to try and go for the win because now you're back a few games, so you kind of need that win.
Yeah. So we discussed on yesterday's show how great Cody Bellinger's been, and I didn't realize he was in the midst of a 14-game, or at that point, a 13-game hitting streak. He made it 14 on Wednesday night with an RBI single to open up the scoring for the Yankees.
He's crushing it. He's hitting so well. He's so consistent. And even in the midst of this hitting streak going on, you don't even realize that he's going through it. You don't realize that he's going through it at the time of 13-game hitting streak because he's just so consistent out there. It's not a big storyline that it's a 13-game hitting streak. He's been incredible for them. I'm impressed daily with every aspect of his game. Honestly, from the fielding to the base running to the hitting, he's a really, really, really solid player.
You know who impresses me now on a nightly basis?
Who's that?
Jayson Dominguez. That running from first to home.
We've said it. He's super fast, and his body frame doesn't look like he'd be fast.
No.
It's almost the Martian nickname almost really works when it comes to watching him run, because you would never think a guy built like that is going to move like he moves.
Right.
And then you watch him run, and you're like, how is he moving that quick?
Yeah.
He flies out there. His bat has become so good, and all I'm asking for here, Stacey, is just some consistency. Leave him in the one hole. Let him hit. Let him hit the leadoff, and let's see what it turns into.
He's doing exactly what I wanted Anthony Volpe to do in the leadoff spot.
I'll
Get
give you
on
one
base.
better, actually. I'll give you one better because I actually, to what you're saying, I think this is what they were looking for in Volpe, because in today's game, they want a guy with speed. In today's game, they want a mold of the old traditional leadoff hitter and a modern day leadoff hitter, right? They want the power of the modern day leadoff hitter, but they also want the plate awareness, the base running of an old school leadoff hitter. Jayson Dominguez has both of those. He really is like a hybrid between both. He has the power, but he also has the speed, and he has really good plate vision. So I actually think the only reason I cut in right there was because I agree with your Volpe point, but I almost think Dominguez is just a slight above what Volpe could be for them, if that makes sense.
Stay up to date all year on Major League Baseball by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On MLB on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, why Jayden Daniels will win the 2025 MVP award. The Washington Commanders have finally found their quarterback. Jayden Daniels is the man. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year and led Washington to the NFC Championship game in 2024. Now, Locked On NFL host David Harrison believes Daniels is ready to make an even bigger leap this season.
My MVP pick, Wig, this is a bad episode for me, bro. I wouldn't be surprised if Jayden Daniels won the MVP award.
My man,
look,
my man.
If
that's why I love you, dog. I don't think you're being biased at all. But you know what? You gonna sit. But the thing is, you don't even care. You're just gonna be like, "This is how I feel," and I know y'all gonna feel some type of way. By the way, 100%. if you ever get jumped coming out of a bar, I'm gonna point people to since I'm saying it's Jake and James. That's who did it. I don't care where you are. It's gonna be Jake and James. That's who. But
I'm just like I admitted that the Dallas Cowboys, if they can fix their run game, are a very dangerous team in the NFL this year. I'm going to be honest with you, 100% of the time. Listen, if I tell you 3-4 years from now, Jayden Daniels is going to be considered one of those types of quarterbacks like a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, are you surprised? Are you surprised to hear me say that Jayden Daniels 3 or 4 years from now is going to be talked about in the same breath with those two types of quarterbacks? No,
I would not be surprised. I wouldn't.
Well, guess what? Both of those young quarterbacks won MVPs in their second NFL seasons. So if Jayden Daniels is on the path right now to be one of those types of quarterbacks, then he's on the path right now to be the next MVP winner in his second NFL season. That's the reason that he put together. Plus, like I already mentioned, the improvements on the offense. Cliff Kingsbury is back. His quarterbacks coach is back. All the continuity in the world. And 10 nationally televised games this year, Wig. We all know, what does this voting have to do with? Voting is a popularity contest. Jayden Daniels is going to have 10 opportunities to showcase his talents on the big stage. So if he doesn't win it, it's not going to be from a lack of opportunity, okay? Bottom line. So he would not surprise me.
The problem with this is the expectations. Jayden Daniels had a historic rookie season. One of the best rookie seasons we've ever seen. All the advanced metrics say he was a top 5 quarterback last year. How good does he have to be to better that? The unfair reality of these sorts of awards is you are held to the standard of your best performance. So you got to beat last year. And that's going to be really tough. History says he's probably not. Rookies who debut in virtuosic fashion the way that he did tend to just be kind of just as good, or maybe a little worse, maybe a little better, maybe. But to be the MVP, you can't just be a little better. You got to be a lot better because you got to be Patrick Mahomes and Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. And maybe if guys like CJ Stroud and Jordan Love take steps, they're going to have the narrative momentum because a team like the Green Bay Packers, for instance, if they take a big step, Jordan Love's going to get a lot of the credit. If the Texans take a big step, CJ Stroud is going to get a lot of the credit. People are waiting for that to happen. I just think the standard is already too high for Daniels. And I don't think that team is going to be good enough, frankly, for him to get in the race. And finally, former LSU gymnast and American social media influencer Libby Dunn was all set to move into her dream apartment in New York City. That apartment used to be owned by baseball legend Babe Ruth. Libby and her boyfriend, Pirates superstar Paul Skeens, visited the place. A decorator was hired. It was all going according to plan. This, according to Libby on her social media. But at the last second, she was apparently rejected from purchasing the place by the co-op board. I guess it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out of the old ball game for Libby. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, could a salary cap be coming to Major League Baseball? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.